So this is how Amazon delivers tires in the third world. You may ask, how do I know that? Well, I mean, they carry everything on their head in the third world, right? I'm not making fun, I'm just having fun. Getting ready to change a tire. So I have learned over the years, when changing tires, and I do almost all my tires myself. Sometimes I get some help. Sometimes I'll get a shop to mount it. But over the years I have learned that tires go on so much easier, especially the stiffer sidewall tires. Most of the time they go on so much easier if you just leave them out in the sun, let them get hot. It's so much easier to gotta be careful with this knife. So much easier to mount the tires on your rim, because cold rubber is very hard and it's not very pliable, and you need that pliability to be able to mount your tires easily. And this is a harder compound, it looks like, than I'm used to, but I was really impressed with the last Kenda big block that I put on the bike. I like Kenda. They last long, they're very reliable, they got good traction in the dirt and on pavement, and I like supporting them. This is probably twice as much as a regular 270. I usually run 270s, but I like this big block so much that I'm willing to pay the extra dough. But I'm also going to attempt something new today. I saw this technique years ago out in the Talladega riding with a bunch of guys, and there was another group. I think they were out of state. I think they were like from Florida or something. They'd ridden up, because there's no hills or anything in Florida. Well, hills, 100-foot hills maybe. I think there may be a 100-foot hill in the whole state of Florida, but it's closer up to Georgia. But anyway, I ran into these guys. Well, we ran into these guys. I think I was with a pretty big group of guys. I think we had maybe 10, 15 guys in our group, and these guys had maybe 10, 15 guys in their group, and they had stopped on Skyline, and one of the guys had a flat, so they were changing the tire. But I thought it was really interesting how they were doing it. I'd never seen this technique before. Instead of laying the bike down like most people on the trail do, they put this bike on the side stand, pulled a rope around a tree, and pulled the front wheel off the ground, which I thought that was kind of interesting. And since I've got some paracord wrapped around a tree back here, I think I'm going to try that technique rather than doing the, typically when I change tires at the house, I usually just put the bike on a jack stand. A lot easier than that, like that, or at least my trail bike. The bigger bikes always tend to have a center stand, which is really good if you're out in the middle of nowhere and you need to change your tires. Really good to have a center stand. It almost always gets the rear tire off the ground, so you can change your rears in an emergency. And with a little bit of weight added to the rear, you can change the front. It's pretty easy. You don't have a whole lot of options as far as the smaller bikes, but typically most folks end up laying them on one side or the other and pulling everything loose. Not a big deal, except if your tank doesn't like to be on its side, your gas tank. Sometimes you leak fuel, and that's not cool. Leaking fuel and spilling, you're polluting the environment, you're losing your fuel, but you may also catch your damn bike on fire when you start the damn thing up. And anyway, I'm going to leave it out here and let this thing let the sun warm this up as much as I can, and then I'm gonna go change. Gonna pull the rim, or pull the tire and rim off, and then get this thing changed out hopefully this afternoon. So as it turns out, it's a bit harder to lift the front tire off, at least on this bike. I'm kind of wondering, I'm trying to remember now how those guys that I saw up in Talladega did it. But it seemed like they were leaning on the kickstand, but I had to actually put some stakes in the ground beside the rear wheel to keep it from sliding around. You can see the stakes there. But I finally got it off, and not only was that the big block hard to get off, I mean, it was all stiff. Even sitting out in the sun for an hour, it was still hard to get off, and the other tire was just as hard to get back on. Can't really see it here, but it was a struggle, and I had to use some of this bead lube to get it in there, because that thing just did not want to go over the rim. But I'm thinking maybe I should start carrying a tube of the bead jelly and maybe some baby powder. That's kind of one of the tricks I learned a long time ago, is the baby powder to keep from pinching your tube. Have just the right amount of air in the tube, so it's not it doesn't deflate, just enough to allow you to be able to put the tube in there without the thing crinkling and bending and getting a pinch in it. But had trouble getting the dadgum wheel back on, because the tree method just really doesn't work that well. But anyway, I did it. Maybe that'll help you guys out on the trail. Thanks for watching as usual. Hope you got something out of it. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you want to see more, click subscribe and the bell notification, and you get notified when I upload new videos. See y'all.